Well, for today's 3-card reading, I've decided to again use the Tarot de Marseille restoration, the Alejandro Jodorowsky restoration. And here I notice something interesting. First, we have 2 major arcana, and while I realize that each card has value, I do fall into the old camp, I suppose, where the major arcana or trump cards have a certain weight. So when I see something like this, I take note. With that said, I also find it interesting that all of the figures look in the same direction. They look to the right. If we view tarot as on a linear timeline, of course, we see them looking to the future. The king in the middle, a very well-established individual, the King of Cups. He has his cup held firmly in his hand. He sits comfortably on his throne, maybe even a bit relaxed. He has some authority. He has quite a bit of authority. And he has quite a bit of receptivity. And even now, still some growth potential. The king has to decide whether to stay put or to move forward into something even more meaningful. He has power, he has authority, he probably has some recognition. He has a lot of good going for him, and he could get very comfortable, but more lies ahead if he decides to pursue it. Now, as for the linear timeline, we have the Pope, or the Hierophant, starting us out. And he, in the major arcana, represents also a position similar to the king. So maybe we've found ourselves in this position before and we've come back to it, or something similar to it. Or maybe we've already been here for a little while and we have to decide what to do, because he also has the option of moving forward. So I would say between these 2 cards, we have a very strong indication of the present situation, and this applies to a relationship of some kind, whether that, as always, means a relationship with romantic interest, family, friends, work, self. This may also involve a spiritual matter, since we do have the Pope, as he's been rendered here. It'll fit different situations, but I think that particular relationship has been suggested kind of strongly. So maybe in your spirituality you feel a little stagnant, and if not stagnant, on the verge. You've become aware that the time has come to make some decisions and make some moves and perhaps some changes. Maybe you've done some reflecting in the cup already, or maybe you need to do some reflecting. I would guess that you already have. In a lot of cases, we actually know a lot more deep down than we want to acknowledge. So I would suggest listening to that, at least as a starting point or an indicator as to where you need to go. I also see the mentioned receptivity in his gaze to the future. He doesn't look hopeless. He's gotten here already, so he can certainly do more. He has his eye on the Strength card, and Strength represents, among other things, strength, as well as some considerable potential. So, when it comes to spiritual matters, and we find ourselves in need or want of change, obviously that means either something hasn't been working, it's stopped working, we've had some realizations that have caused us to question some things or just see them differently, and it can amount to a very difficult position to get up and to realize your further potential. Take into consideration where you've already been and what you can learn from the experiences you've already been through. Chances seem good that if you've gotten to this position, you've not only been through a lot, but you've been through a lot successfully. How did you get through that? What can you apply from that into the current situation that will help you to realize and maximize your potential? Only you know those answers. But I would suggest that you take a few moments, or many moments today and going forward, to look at those things and to apply them to the present. That way, you don't have to relearn certain lessons, and it makes it a lot more bearable and easy. As always, folks, this actually was a bit of a shorter one. This one seemed pretty straightforward, and if anything, I really like the Jodorowsky restoration because it does have a very intuitive quality. It does lend itself to easy but deep interpretation. And I love my variety of tarot decks. Any of you who follow me on the social media will know that. And if you don't, you can find the information in the description, because I do update those with more daily regularity than I can on YouTube right now. So you may want to stop on over there, see it, take a look around, and follow those, like them, whatever they call that. Also, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do. Although I don't update it daily, I do update it, and on a variety of subjects. Check out the other videos as well. A lot of the readings that I've done don't apply just to the day in question, and you may find them interesting, helpful, insightful, and occasionally entertaining. As always, also, please leave some comments. I always like discussion. I follow up on those as soon as possible. Until next time, folks, keep transforming. See you then.